By the time he wrote Rigoletto, Verdi had found love again with Giuseppina Strepponi, a soprano who'd starred in Nabucco. She was to devote the rest of her life to him. But she had tarnished her reputation with past affairs and illegitimate children. And when they came back to Busseto to live in the palazzo Verdi had bought, she was ostracized.
People started spitting at Strepponi in the street and so on and so forth. It became, in Catholic Italy, it became a completely different thing. And actually, in the end, more or less isolated her within the household. It was very difficult for her to go out and certainly impossible for her to take part in society.
Verdi's anti-establishment liberal mindset naturally drew him towards stories which featured characters that were social outcasts. Take, for example, Violetta in his La Traviata, The Lost One, a Parisian courtesan.
It's the first serious opera that's set in the present day. It's the first serious opera in which a soprano dies from a disease rather than dying of joy or from poison or whatever. So it's realistic to its very core.
La Traviata was based on a Dumas play, The Lady of the Camellias, about a kept woman who falls in love with a youthful admirer. It was, in Verdi's words, a subject from our own time, and resonated personally for him and his lover Giuseppina. Controversially, he wanted to set La Traviata in contemporary Paris in the 1850s.
It would have been immensely shocking had the people in La Fenice arrived and seen in contemporary costume that story. But that was a step too far, I think, for the management of La Fenice.
The censors did allow the opera to be performed, but like Rigoletto before it, it had to be set in the past.
You haven't done the last two times, but when she's thrown against the table, just a gasp of shock.
In Richard Eyre's production for the Royal Opera House, we've set it in Verdi's day. Violetta, the heroine, played by Renée Fleming, knows she's dying of consumption, but against her better judgment, she falls in love with the son of an impoverished country gentleman. Alfredo is played here by Joseph Calleja.
One thing he was very attracted to were complicated women. So you get a lot of conflicted women who change during the course of the plot and so on and so forth. And the most complicated, the most difficult, the most tortured heroine of all is Violetta.
In this scene, Alfredo's father, Germont, comes to tell Violetta that she must end her relationship with his son. Alfredo's sister is to be married, and his affair with Violetta threatens the family's name.
The heart of the opera is actually the duologue between Violetta and Germont.
Once again, Verdi is exploring the father-daughter relationship. Germont may start off as Violetta's accuser, but by the end, he is a consoling father figure.
It's a sort of perfect fusion of themes of respectability and loss of reputation and power and vulnerability, and fused together in that scene in a quite remarkable way.
They're singing and arguing and singing and arguing, and suddenly time stops. and just out of nowhere comes this ah in the middle voice that's completely exposed, and in that ah is, you know, a lifetime of pain.
I think you should come off before, let the orchestra finish.
In rehearsal, Renee and I worked on this very moment.
Renee, I just want to... There's a lot of important words, but the killer is the word pura. So I would save giving emphasis on the word bella and save it for pura, because that's what you ain't, and that's what he's been implying all along.
Right.
And that's very important, okay? Ah, fabulous.
Tell your daughter who's beautiful and pure, you know, like I'm not. Thank you for reminding me that. That's so powerful. Beautiful and pure, you know. It's just, and by the way, that moment is absolutely where the opera turns. It's the turning point of the entire piece.
To Germaine's amazement, Violetta agrees to end her affair with Alfredo for the sake of his daughter.
He sees that this is a wonderful human being, it's a wonderful woman. Her love is true, and therefore, ergo, tragic, because he would never back down from his own position that it's not possible. I think rather than being the bad guy, he realizes he's just the very dreary, fateful messenger. But yet, he would never change his mind. It's not an option.
Like Alfredo and Violetta in La Traviata, Verdi and Giuseppina sought refuge in the countryside. They wanted to escape the judgmental eyes of Busseto society. They moved to an estate that Verdi had bought nearby, the Villa Sant'Agata.